Welcome to the Get Decentralized Podcast. We are Decentralized JPM, and hopefully you guys are ready to get decentralized today. I'm Decentralized Mars, joined by Decentralized Jano and Decentralized Philas.
Yo, what's up? What's good?
Yeah. We are a group of enthusiasts and gamers, crypto enthusiasts and gamers. We believe that the internet is going to blow up and drastically change over the course of the next few years. We are here to help and aid in the adoption of blockchain technologies, grow with the industry, and also entertain people. With crypto being such a wide field, we are more focused on its impact on gaming and how Web3 games will look like in the future. If you're interested in watching us play these games live, make sure to follow us on all our other social platforms, including Twitch. Link down in the description.
YouTube as well,
man.
Yeah. So how are you guys doing today?
I'm feeling good. I'm excited.
Are you guys ready to get into some of the topics we have for
I'm
today?
excited for your topics, man.
Yeah,
really?
I've quite an interesting one.
You always bless us with the best conversations, Mars.
So today I want to have a conversation about a couple of topics surrounding the differences between Web3 and Web2, specifically when it comes to Web2 and Web3 gaming. Since Web2 and Web3 are such large topics and include such a variety of aspects, we're just going to focus down on gaming today. Start off with Web2 and Web3 mean by themselves for interested individuals who just don't know what they mean just yet. What is your current understanding of what Web2 is? Before you guys answer, I know we are more interested in the gaming side of things, but this specifically refers to the generalized meaning of Web2.
Probably, I would say the current internet as it is. Current games you play.
Yeah, but what made Web2 like special compared to what Web 1 was, you know?
Okay,
so what does Web 2 even mean?
The way I see it is like Web 1 was basically the coming of the internet where articles were online and now you could all of a sudden read the news online and you could, but there wasn't a lot of interaction. What Web 2 made possible was more interaction, you know? Like you could create content, you could start writing reviews, you could start commenting, and it was a lot more interaction. That's what Web 2 was, you know. And for me, Web 3 is just the contribution of finances to the web, you know. And the web or the internet is just getting like more and more expanded to the point where it's our whole lives.
So basically, like Web 1 was like the first form of the internet ever, you know, like But it was really like
it was almost just articles.
It's just like people had their own websites, you know, like the internet is just like a couple of, you know, connected networks and stuff. People were,
it was like blog posts,
like uploading to their own network like articles and stuff and blog posts and stuff, and they were sharing
just
over the
news. It was just basically news that you could read on your phone or on the screen, basically.
And a very small majority of people actually used the first version of the internet, as we refer to it, Web 1.
It was a massive success, right? And that's why it continued developing.
Yeah.
So as that got better and better, all of a sudden companies started developing like Netflix, Amazon. All these are like Web 2 companies, you know? So that was the integration of, now you can start doing a lot more things on the internet.
You can
Movies,
you
can start selling websites, you know, all of these things started developing with Web 2.
So Web 2 is when a lot of these companies that we know and love today, the way we consume internet, the way we consume media content and stuff drastically changed the way in which it operates, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm going to read you a little bit about about the definition of what Web 2 is and why Web 2 is the way Web 2 is. Web 2 saw a major change in the way people consumed content with the emergence of social media sites like Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. I don't want a Web 2 specific conversation, but I do want to touch on some of the functions. Web 2 made it easier for people to get information in a few seconds. It dramatically changed the way in which we consumed content and forms of entertainment. That includes gaming. I think you guys can see where we're going with this. So back in the day, gaming used to be like a bunch of, you know, you had like your CD, you had your like disc, you would put it into your console, like these single player experiences. But Web 2 kind of changed that a lot for us, you know.
Probably changed more with the PS3, I would say.
More interaction, you know.
So with Web 2, one major concern that comes to mind is thinking about the massive abundance of user-generated content. It's obviously like the accuracy and reliability of information comes into question, you know. I'm sure you have tried looking up something to get results that just aren't quite right and what you were looking for. Although the internet hasn't been around for that long, so Web 2 obviously has some major disadvantages. And although things are easier than it's ever been in history, it still needs a lot of work. And that's where Web 3 comes in, you know.
Yeah.
So what do you guys know about Web 3 so far?
Well, Web3 is the integration of assets online, which is mind-boggling to me. It makes me so excited because now all of a sudden you can own something on the internet, and you can prove that you have ownership of it, you know, with the concept of NFTs, the technology around it. And it's mind-boggling, to be honest. And now all of a sudden, with decentralized finance and all these things, you have literally your banks could be online and everything. It's amazing, you know.
So I touched on a couple of things when we had like our little discussion about like just what Web2 specifically is, about disadvantages like the abundance of user-generated content, how you can question the accuracy and the reliability of things like that. Obviously, decentralized finance and the blockchain technology, crypto is going to be one aspect or like part of Web3 or the concept of Web3. But there are also a bunch of other things that I like want to mention, but not have like a really long conversation about. Like I think artificial intelligence is something that's been around for a little while. I think that's going to change the way in which people start consuming content. I mean, it's not just going to be people that put on content anymore. Also, like security is going to be improved. Results that people get on the internet in terms of information they want is going to be much more reliable and accurate.
Do you think so, though? Because there's just too much information on the internet.
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to facts, it will be a lot more accurate. But, you know, like there's a big difference between opinion and fact, you know. Facts are facts. And I think facts are going to be a lot more reliable, a lot more easy to come by with the help of artificial intelligence.
But what will be seen as a fact and what will be seen as an opinion? And that's the hard thing.
No. Like let's say something that is known is a fact. So like for example, if I say, I think there are beings in the universe. Let's call it aliens, you know. That's not a fact because it's not proven.
Yeah, but it makes it more difficult because maybe like there's a group of students in Harvard, and they had like this study and they found something out. They found something with the study, but will that seen as an opinion or a fact? Because
I mean, if it has proof backing it, then
but it's so hard just to know if the proof that is backing it is accurate.
I get what you say. I understand. Like there's even debates on whether there's two genders right now. You know, so I don't know.
So I think
where do
something
you draw
that's an
the
opinion
line?
could become a concept if proven to a certain point, and after that concept has been debunked and proven like multiple times, then it could become a fact. You know?
But like, through what phases should you go to be seen as a fact? Because everybody can do a study or a research or whatever and put it online, but then it's seen as an opinion, because everybody can do it. And how do you prove that it is a fact and not just somebody messing with the data?
I think what we mean with artificial intelligence is like, for example, where is the Colosseum at? You know, things like this. That's kind of like, it's concrete that this is a fact.
What my direction and thought process is basically at the moment, everything is user generated. So all these things are set up by humans. You know, the content is pushed by humans. The content is like optimized by humans for humans. You know. Everyone is doing everything for each other. So the accuracy and the reliability of information could sometimes be questioned, but more so the accuracy, you know. Let's say there is something on the internet that you know is there and you really want to find it, but your search question or your tags just aren't quite right and you can't quite find what you're looking for. But by explaining it to Google, like let's say you want something, but you like trying to explain it to the Google search bar, it's not going to give you what you're looking for, you know.
Yeah.
But let's say artificial intelligence steps in at that point where it kind of replaces that human element, and you can describe to this thing what exactly you're looking for, and instead of like having like a search option, it can give you a result based on what you describe.
How far do you think we are from it?
I don't know,
because I've used ChatGPT and it gets so repetitive after a while.
Yeah, but I mean, what this basically is, it's a neural network, so it's learning, you know, it's learning on a continuous basis, you know.
Yeah, no, but ChatGPT was
a concept.
ChatGPT is what's the word you used? Like repeatable, because we asked it the same questions. You know, you can ask ChatGPT a million different questions. It won't be repeatable. You know, like you can sometimes ask ChatGPT what's the length of Logan Paul, for example, you know, and he will give you the length, which is probably a fact. because this is how much Logan
Yeah.
Paul, how tall he is or whatever, you know. ChatGPT is not perfect yet because it's so new, but I think it's just gonna come to a point where, you know, it's gonna be at a standard where it's almost perfect all the time, you know. It's gonna be crazy, I think.
I know what I understand.
Yeah.
So I think there are a lot of good changes coming to Web3, and obviously a lot of hurdles that people are gonna have to overcome before it is usable and safe to use. Basically, with anything new comes new problems and obviously new solutions, but it's gonna take time for us to find those solutions and get it to a point where it's gonna be perfect to use. But I just wanted to touch on some things about Web3 lightly so that I can clearly differentiate what the difference is between Web 2 and Web 3. And also, as the main topic of today is the difference between Web 2 and Web 3 gaming. So you already mentioned the whole decentralized blockchain aspect of it. Like Web 3 is going to incorporate a lot of blockchain technology. It's going to change the way in people like store and use information and the way in which people like interact with their finances, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a big part, you know? The way in which assets are owned on the internet.
And I think there might be like a few add-ons as well that
Yeah.
we just don't know about, because I think it's going to evolve in the course, like over the future. So
I think it's going to be
like
crazy.
people buy stocks, you know, people these days do everything online. Back in the day, you'd have to go to a counter and you'd have to like buy some shares in a company and you'd get like a certificate of ownership, you know.
Yeah,
And
you
that's
would
all,
have
like-
to call them and tell like I want this much Apple stock, you know. whatever. What-
But
But that's-
you'd have to call your broker.
that's
but now
no
you
longer
can buy,
a thing anymore.
you can buy crypto, which is like kind of like a share, but not entirely. But you can still buy shares, and the way in which they work, it's still like a piece of information, you know.
Yeah.
But it's kept in a centralized location, whereas blockchain could change the way that we actually store information, you know.
Yeah,
So everything is going to change around finances, business, and stuff like that in terms of what blockchain technology has to offer.
yeah, but especially decentralized technology, you know, like if you can be decentralized, it's almost better because the internet, as we know, is worldwide. So the currency of the internet is gonna be Bitcoin, Ethereum. It might not even be Bitcoin, you know, but there's gonna be a currency of the internet, and that's what excites me. Like,
But don't you think it might be a few currencies because you can just exchange it to another one if you need this one?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
it's
I
gonna
don't
be
think
the
it's gonna be-
currencies
yeah.
of the internet.
Yeah.
But it's going to make the way in which we trade a lot easier, because now there's like a bunch of rules and regulations. I mean, you're living in this country, you have this currency, and you want to swap it over to, let's say, directly for some dollars. There's so many rules. It's kind of difficult to like just switch currencies around these days, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that's also one thing that that blockchain technology and Web3 is going to help with, you know.
Yeah, and it's so adaptable, you know, because, for example, Litecoin might be just a very quick one. So if you want to do a quick transaction, you do Litecoin and it's a cheap gas fee. If you want to do a massive transaction, the most reliable would be Ethereum, but the gas fee is going to be,
It'll be
more
quite
expensive.
expensive, yeah.
But it's more reliable or whatever, you know. So there's going to be so many currencies, but they're going to have different use
Advantages.
cases. And then you also have currencies for like gaming tokens, and you have like in-game economies with tokens and stuff. It's going to make Web 2 just so much more interactive and so much more finance included, and you're going to own stuff on the internet, you know.
It's not going to be Web 2 anymore. It's going to be Web 3.
Yeah, but it's the new Web 2,
Yeah,
which
hopefully
is Web 3.
you guys can see where I'm going with this. I mean, the topic of today is Web 2 versus Web 3 gaming. And so the original idea of what the internet Web 2 to Web 3 is, you can kind of like see Web 2 is like a form of gaming where like everyone is doing at the moment. And people like a lot of times ask us, you know, what is Web 3 gaming all about? What are you guys all about? What are you doing? And what makes you different from normal like Web 2 gamers and streamers? And so that's where I want to get in. An interesting fact that I want to touch on that you mentioned about like Bitcoin is I saw this thing on the internet recently about this. They asked this guy, what do you think Bitcoin is going to be worth in 10 years? And he said, like, how much dollars is one Bitcoin going to cost in 10 years? And he said, well, I can't say that because we're not going to be using dollars at that point anymore, you know?
Yeah,
That's just an opinion, but that's kind of something
That's
interesting to think about.
That's a big statement.
It's a big statement.
I don't know, like, this is the big thing for me. I don't think, like, Web3 will take over everything. I think it builds upon everything, you know?
But eventually there might not be a dollar anymore.
I do think that the dollar will crash because the dollar is really terrible at the moment. I'm not going to go
At some
into
point, it is
too
going
much
to go
of
to
that,
zero.
you know.
Zero.
But,
Yeah. That's not the topic of the.
But there might just be a
conversation.
different currency, you know. Like I know the Chinese yuan or whatever. They're really attacking the dollar dominance. They want to be the secondary currency of the world, you know, or they want to be the primary currency of the world, and to fall back on. So I think the dollar is lifespan is limited, and it's going to fall away. But I don't think Bitcoin or Web3 is going to be the currency for the world. I think it's going to be the currency for the internet, you know. And Bitcoin, especially for me, isn't even like. I wouldn't say we should be trading and exchanging Bitcoin for phones and you buy things with Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is the ultimate asset, and other things are going to be used to exchange and to I give you like 10 Yoxa for your skin in Rust or whatever that may
all
be. You know?
currencies have a use case.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with your Bitcoin then? If it's just an
Bitcoin
asset?
is an asset, store of value.
Yeah.
You know, like we don't really use gold anymore, you know,
Yeah.
it's except for like in watches and stuff like this. But Bitcoin is the store of ultimate value, you know, like gold used to be.
Bitcoin is like a digital gold.
Yeah, it's
basically, yeah.
digital gold, you know, and I think Bitcoin is going to be the ultimate asset, and the other things have more use cases, you know. But Bitcoin is still the big daddy for me, you know, because that's just the asset, you know.
That's the ultimate cryptocurrency.
Yeah. So that's what I think is going to be like the future. I think probably some countries, hopefully the BRICS countries fall back on the gold standard, you know, and the currency is going to be linked to gold's price. Maybe something like that
Do you think
happens.
they
you know?
will fall back to the gold standard? What do you think the chance of it is?
I think for certain countries it's going to be good, you know. Like I know BRICS has talked a lot about falling back on the gold currency, but now the Chinese are pushing their yuan, you know, for being
Which
their
one do you
primary
think will be
currency.
better, the gold or the
Gold
yuan?
currency.
Gold.
Better because that means
There's
what
only a
that
limited
means is
amount of
you
gold
can't
in
just
the-
you can't just print
Print it,
money the
yeah.
whole time, and
Yeah,
that
makes
this
sense.
is actually America's downfall.
Yes,
You know?
But that's
it's the-
every country though, not just America.
Yeah, but
Just-
America's
yeah.
like
everyone
remember-
follows their lead, you know.
Yeah, remember-
that is true.
America right now. The dollar is the currency of the world, you know, and if they fuck it up, it's their fault, you know. Like
Yeah.
they have all the eyes are on them, if I can put it that way. And
If America does something, everybody just follows
yeah.
in that direction.
And this is why the whole world, like almost each country, is in so much debt and everything, you know. So I think being on the gold standard is a good thing. I don't know how the transition will look like or how it will happen, but maybe like imagine this, right? There's this currency, and if Bitcoin really proves to be like a really big thing and people really want to push it and governments are on it and want to push it, imagine they go back on a Bitcoin as a standard, you know, for their own currencies.
A store of value.
Yeah, that would be amazing, you
That
know.
would be really good.
I don't think that will happen though, but that would be awesome.
It doesn't
Imagine
necessarily
if it
have to be
happened,
Bitcoin.
yeah.
I mean, they could create a currency that could be a store of value, you know.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very hard because who do you put in charge of a currency that you create without putting more in supply? And then
And Bitcoin is in such an
basically
optimal position for that because, I mean, just the way in which it like originates it and
Yeah.
how it came to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one. It doesn't have an owner, you know.
Yeah.
No one can put more supply in or take some supply out of circulation, and that's what makes it so amazing.
Only has a limited supply.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That is awesome. Okay, so Web3 is defined as a concept or an idea of what the internet will become after Web2. It will supposedly incorporate concepts such as decentralization, blockchain technologies, and token-based economics, all things we as Decentralized JPM are interested in. This is also primarily what the Get Decentralized podcast is all about. Web3 is obviously a lot more than what I just mentioned. As we said earlier, we talked about like artificial intelligence a little bit and all kinds of other things, you know. But what we want to get into is like specifically the decentralization part of Web3, you know. So for the sake of simplicity, we'll just talk about this aspect for today. However, we're also quite interested in how things are artificial intelligence will change the supply of content and such. How would you guys describe blockchain technology?
To be honest, I've been struggling with this one for a
Yeah,
while.
because it's so complicated.
I've been thinking about it and I just can't find the answer. I don't know. I'll leave this one to fellas.
Well,
Phyllis is the expert.
I mean, I wouldn't call myself an expert. You know, I'm still learning a lot.
He's more of an
And,
expert than us too. Yeah.
I would say like blockchain technology is basically the integration of owning assets. That's the most important part for me, is like the more people spend time, where people spend their time, there's going to be value there, no matter what it is, you know. If you spend your time in a mall, there's going to be places there that are valuable, things there that are valuable. If people start spending their times on the internet, you know, and this is happening more and more, like we're always on the internet.
It's already happened.
If you're lying down in your bed scrolling through Instagram, you're basically in an insanely huge shopping center. Think about it, you know, you're seeing ads, you're seeing content creators probably selling some type of thing, selling you entertainment, selling you their merch, selling you all sorts of things that produce value to you, you know, like a watch company. Everything is so online, and if you're just sitting there scrolling, it's like you're going through a mall, you know. And this is what blockchain technology just makes a little bit more secure, is to finance and to make it easier, you know, because right now it's like you have to put in your card information and everything. Everything is going to be so interconnected between exchanges, decentralized exchanges.
But it's all information when it comes down to the basics of everything. Like blockchain technology is just a new way of storing information.
Yeah, but it's also a lot more controlled by the consumers. There's not, because right now it's not regulated, you know. So
interesting topic that ties into the gaming aspect of what makes Web3 gaming such a huge advantage over Web2 gaming. And that's the thing that it puts, instead of the company that creates the game and decides how the microtransactions will work and how much they will cost and everything like that, it puts the user experience first, and like the users control the experience.
Like especially with these DAOs, like the community have a lot more say. Like now they have votes, they have decisions to make. Like let's say you own a certain part of this company, meaning you bought like shares, you know. If you have like a certain amount of shares, you have a certain amount of your vote counts a certain amount of where the company's future is going. So the company is basically controlled by the community itself, and this is such a good concept, you know, because if consumers want something, it's gonna happen, you know. And that's
a need
awesome.
for it. There's a demand for it.
Yeah. So for me, that is actually the main thing about this. That is so cool. But it's so interconnected, and there's so many things to learn and to know about.
So
you know,
basically, everyone at this point on Web2 is in some kind of way participating in a centralized exchange of information. So what that basically means is, so you're on Instagram, like you said, which is like a massive shopping center, you know. And everything on the platform is stored in a central location, on some kind of central server and database, you know. Everything is uploaded to a central place, you know. But what blockchain technology basically enables is like the share of information from a peer-to-peer standpoint. So that's what a blockchain essentially means. It's blocks of information kind of all linked together and have to be approved and validated by all the users of the blockchain together. So there has to be voting consensus. Everyone has to agree on certain things, you know. So it just takes the control away from a central place and distributes it across the entire chain. So that all users can basically have a vote on how it should be and influence how it should be, you know. I mean, not everyone's going to agree, but like the general consensus is most people are going to be happy with how it is, you know. And that's what blockchain technology in Web3 makes so special, you know. And I think it could change a lot of things about how companies and like especially games that we play operate. You know?
And I mean it's still evolving so quickly that it's hard to say one thing one day and then the other day it's completely different. Like I know Ethereum, for example, is a lot more centralized now with all the hard forks that they've gone through and everything. And it's a little bit sad, you know. And hopefully there's going to be companies that can just stay decentralized.
Because there are going to be companies that stay decentralized.
It takes the power. The big thing for me as well, it takes the power away from a certain group of individuals. It puts the power into the hands of the whole
or it just distributes the power more equitably, you know. Like it doesn't necessarily take the company's entire, like all their power away. It makes sure that there have to be kind of, how can you say, like they have to be more responsible, you know.
One person's decision can't mess up the entire thing.
Exactly, you
know.
So like one division's decisions in some kind of company like EA back in the day with all their microtransactions that kind of killed some of the games. that can't like just kill the game anymore, you know?
Yeah.
You know, some person just can't mess it up anymore.
Yeah. But I don't know, man, like it's so complicated because a lot of companies are still, I wouldn't say doing it wrong, you know, but they're still doing it in a very dictatorship way,
Old-fashioned
which isn't
way.
bad, you know. It's not necessarily a bad thing because ultimately, if you start a company, a lot of the times you want the say in the company.
Yeah. They're not just going to give it away.
Yeah, that's why there are DAOs. Like there's specific DAOs and there's specific companies that still own the company and things like this. But what's nice is if you buy shares in a company, you know, then you start having say in the company, which is like you're a board of the director or whatever.
Shareholders.
Yeah.
Shareholders, yeah.
So yeah, this is how does this all tie into like Web 2 and Web 3 gaming? That's what we're going to talk about now. So apart from everything else, the main thing that we are concerned about is blockchain integration when it comes to Web 3 and Web 2 gaming. And the biggest use case for blockchain technology, or one of the biggest use cases for blockchain technology, is obviously the adoption of it into gaming. So people are used to Web 2 gaming, so we're not going to touch on Web 2 games specifically. But Web 2 games basically had a massive upgrade from what gaming used to be back in the day. When it came to like downloading games from the internet, playing games on online servers, it like made multiplayer a big possibility.
That has changed the gaming world.
Yeah,
entirely.
and that's like people love this. You know, that's what the most successful games are at the moment.
Friends online, starting playing with somebody in India, whatever you want to call it. You know,
it introduced microtransactions. People could start purchasing extra things about the game, start purchasing like DLCs and cosmetics and weapons and you name it. You know, it just changed the way in which people like played games. And although Web3 gaming isn't there just yet, I mean, Web3 gaming is still so new. But like I said at the beginning of the podcast in our introduction, we believe that this is going to explode. It's going to change the way people play games. It's going to be such a big thing, and it's going to change the way users experience games and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
And so we're not going to talk too much about Web 2 gaming, but how is Web 3 different from Web 2 gaming? What comes to mind? I know this is the big question we get asked a lot. You know, this is where a lot of the questions we get asked tie in. Like, how is Web 3 gaming different?
You know, like I believe that ultimately, like gaming is one of the biggest industries in the world right now. You know.
Yeah.
And I think with the introduction of Web 3, it's just going to be more and more big, you know, because this is starting to, gaming as a gamer is going to start to become so much more rewarding in the sense that you can actually start earning some money.
Owning assets.
Owning your assets.
And there's actually a worth tied to your asset. It's not just a skin you can't. That isn't really.
Essentially, like the biggest difference is where Web3 gaming leverages blockchain technology as the foundation to their economy.
Yeah.
Instead of one company basically having their own economy, like they have their own in-game asset and token, and they're basically controlling it like it's their own little economy. Instead, like Web3 gaming will leverage blockchain technology as the foundation of their economy.
Yeah.
And this ties into a bunch of other ecosystems and other games, you know. It's just not one small economy at the moment. And we've seen this, like, I mean, if you play Steam games like Rust or CSGO, that economy is basically on the Valve servers, you know. So you can basically exchange all the skins for other skins and stuff like that. But Web3 is going to make this massive. It's going to make it much bigger.
A good way that I can put it is like, as I said before, where people spend their time, ultimately there's going to be value. If you walk in a mall, there's value there, you know. If you go on Instagram, a lot of people spend an insane amount of time on Instagram. So there's value there. People are selling things, people are marketing things are happening on Instagram. That's why people are there, you know. And with gaming specifically, there's a shitload of people gaming, but there's no value there. You know, you're playing Fortnite, but there's
it all
not.
depends, because there's value in the form of entertainment and you're enjoying yourself.
Okay, but
you
in
can
that
definitely
sense,
expand the value.
Yeah, but like I think with Web3, there's gonna be so much more value. You know, like you're gonna run around in the game and you're gonna buy clothes with crypto. You know, you're gonna buy clothes with the gaming economy's crypto, and I think all of these things like Decentraland, Sandbox, they're even gonna converge. You know, like. it's gonna be, and then someone walks around and you can see his clothes on, and the value of the clothes, and everywhere you look is gonna be value in gaming.
We've already experienced like a little aspect, like concepts of that, like Decentraland and the sandbox, and it's interesting because like I mean those things are quite popular, but they're only still like infantile concepts. Like I mean Snoop Dogg bought some property. If
you spend your time in a game for so long, there's gonna start becoming value there, like with Decentraland you can start owning land in the game, and it's almost like a virtual reality where you're going to be gaming, and you're basically going through a massive shopping center. You're going to do tasks, and all of these tasks are fun. It's a game that you play, and essentially you're going to be creating value. You're going to get value back. It's going to be so value included. You're going to own your own assets that you can take out of the game, and you can actually go into another game with the same clothes, or maybe something like
just
this.
Sell your asset in one game and buy another asset in another game.
Like what you're saying is like, okay, so let's make like a little analogy. Today I wake up, okay, and I go to the shower, and I clean myself, and then I go into my closet, and then I put on this clothes, and I like these clothes. I bought these with like my money, and so now I'm going to this shopping mall. Let's say I'm going to the shopping mall. I'm walking around there for a little while. And then I'm driving to a different mall. I still have the same clothes on,
Yeah, yeah,
so
exactly.
If blockchain technology is used to leverage like the economy or whatever, like these games could share economy across chains. Let's say
it's going to be one massive world, basically.
Yeah, an example is like Polygon games.
Yeah,
one massive world of Polygon games.
Yeah,
the economy is based on the Polygon blockchain, but like all the games that leverage Polygon as their foundation, or their economy. All the games built on that chain are gonna basically have the same economy. You're gonna walk around.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can cross chain your stuff, and you can like. Why do people buy a Rolex? It's to show like status.
Yeah, there's no reason to buy a Rolex for $50,000 instead of like one that's $200. Both tell time, but it's for status.
Either an investment or status. It's a big thing, investment and everything, but like a BMW. But ultimately, if people are going to spend more and more time on the internet, why would you buy a Rolex now?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you buy, like, if you spend more time in Decentraland
what people consider as what gives you status is going to change.
Yeah, like instead of buying a Rolex, you're going to buy a watch in the game, like a NFT. Skin, an NFT that you own, and it's going to show your status, because I'm more in the metaverse, let's call it that.
I've played more than you. I'm better than you.
Not really. I spend more of my time in the metaverse than I spend it in the mall now. Yeah. All of a sudden, because now all of a sudden you're buying everything on the internet. You spend most of your time on the internet. Now you don't run around in the malls anymore, and you don't go outside so much. So where are you gonna show your status? There, because you spend your time there.
Everyone's like starting to like. Spend more time on the internet,
Yeah.
And everyone, what people are doing these days is they're like taking videos and photos of their supercars and their stacks of money, whether it be real or fake. I mean,
but it has already happened in the Web2 gaming world as well. Yeah. People owning a better skin than this one, and just showing it all.
Skins are purely just status,
Yeah. Especially with Rust, the game we're playing now is. People, it's like a status, like how many hours do you have in the game, and people want to know how many, and that's just a way to show it. Like I've got this skin because I've got 4,000 hours in the game or something like that,
Yeah, if those things are tied together, but mostly people just spend money because.
I think Web3 is just a way for developers of these games to have so much more engagement and provide so much more value to the consumer. And that's what's going to change.
It's not going to be like a small change. It's not going to be. This is why it merits the whole discussion. It's not going to be like, oh, gaming changes a little bit. It's going to be a massive thing. It's going to change gaming entirely.
Yeah.
And the types of games people play and the types of games people make. And metaverse is also kind of like a topic that comes up here and there, and people don't really understand it. I myself don't really know what that means entirely, but like sometimes it sounds scary to think about it. But like, I mean, people are going to be spending more time on the internet, and like the internet is going to have to change the way it works in order to like incorporate people or facilitate people to use it
Yeah.
like that. And that's basically what the metaverse essentially means, you know, a place where people can come together like Instagram, but just in a more interactive way and show off their status, you know.
Yeah, like Mars, you know, I've never been very involved in gaming, you know, because for me, the way I used to see it always is like there's no value there for me, you know. I'm basically spending my money on what, you know, like I'm spending my money and my time on games, you know.
Really
And
getting
for me, there's
anything
no
out of it.
value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no value for me, you know. And I know there's entertainment value, but I could rather get entertainment watching a movie or a series. And not everyone is like me, you know, but there are a lot of people like me. But when I saw that there's actually starting to come value into the gaming industry and what Web3 is doing, that's what clicked my interest. And
Like,
I think
this is actually like a testament, you know, to like what it's capable of. If someone like you, that I've known my entire life almost, you're a normal person, you like sports, you like movies, you like socializing with people.
yeah.
You're not really a gamer, you know, and this has grabbed your interest enough to like start this whole decentralized journey, you know.
Yeah, like it's completely changed the way I look at the future, you know. And since I was very young, I always wondered like, what is the future gonna be like? Like I remember driving in the car with my father, and he told me like, "Yo, when I was young, you know that talk. When I was young, we didn't have all of this and all of that. You know, this never existed. I got my first phone when I was 30, you know, or something like this." And it's crazy to think about, and that's what piqued my interest always. Like, what is gonna happen in the future? And I see crazy shit happening in the future.
Yeah.
You know, our children are gonna be born into it probably, and
More involved in Web3 as well.
Yeah. Like it's gonna be crazy. That's all I can say, man.
Yeah.
And I'm
Like,
learning every day.
I
And
think nowadays, like people, it's frowned upon for a child to be like 6-year-old playing on the iPad or whatever. But maybe in the future, people like he's actually doing something. He's getting something by playing it, and I don't know. Maybe
he's learning more, and he's
learning
getting more value. He's interacting and he's engaging. Like, for example, us as parents are probably not going to be concerned as much if our child is 6 years old and playing on the iPad.
Yeah.
When we were 6 year old, there weren't even iPads. You know? But maybe we will be concerned because there's something other than an iPad, and it's the metaverse. They're spending all their time in the metaverse. You know?
The way the world is changed has made it difficult for us to participate in some of the events we might see as boring. I mean, there's like a lot of stimulation in gaming and being on the internet and stuff, and it kind of like takes away from the old school experience of going to school, studying, getting a good job. But even if that's the case, the world we live in is kind of like in a transition period. It's kind of like in a changing phase, you know. And like the old world might not even be around in 20, 30, 50
maybe
years.
kids
You
don't
know?
even go to school anymore.
Exactly. Maybe the way the world works changes so drastically. Like the way our the things are changing right now, and the impact that it's going to have on us isn't going to be that important in 20, 30 years, because the things that they're having an impact on right now won't be around.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So I'm actually excited to talk about this, right? So, what is technology? Why does it keep getting better and better?
To make
Innovation.
people's lives easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
So think about this. Is it easy to drive, to go to school, drive back,
No, it's
put
just
on
a hassle.
clothes? It's a hassle, you know? Like the life we live in, there's a lot of things that could improve. What better is there to improve than not having to drive?
Yeah.
And this is good for the environment. It's all encompassing, you know, like technology is there to make our lives better. Something that is difficult now isn't going to be difficult in 20 years. I don't think kids are still going to go to school the same way they go to school now. Like
They're gonna go
it wouldn't make sense
They're
to
gonna
me.
go to school for different reasons, or they're gonna be educated and developed in an entirely new way that we're not.
Yeah, maybe it's like different programs. Each child like signs up for a different program, or maybe they just learn enough on the internet. They don't need school
They're gonna go to school
Okay, so
on the
one thing is-
metaverse, in the metaverse, you know.
But it
thing
might
is,
just
like-
not be one big school. Like there's gonna be different programs for like each child. Like this child is like he wants to go more into this direction, so it's like he follows this program. You know.
Maybe it's a more like active
so that's
experience,
good.
you know?
Yeah.
Like a more involved experience in what you want to do. Like schooling might change.
Because now kids are almost
Yeah.
forced into like school and it's like a big school or the same system, because there ain't really too much place and there's only a limited amount of teachers or whatever, but that might change in the future because it's the internet.
I mean, how
Like,
big
you
was this
can-
whole Zoom boom?
You can go more into
Yeah.
your, like, I don't know if you
I don't
know what I mean.
agree. I don't agree. I know what you mean,
Yeah.
but I don't agree because I'm 22 now and I still don't know who I am. You know, like how can a child at 5-year-old knows more
Because
the type
there
of direction?
is systems in place, you know, like if he achieves like a certain thing in this and he goes on to this one, this level.
Maybe,
you know?
maybe
Like,
it
because
becomes that
it's,
good.
It's
you know?
much because us as a, like me as a teacher now, I can't really judge a kid, but the internet knowing so much about the kid, like his habits, it's you know, and
Maybe
everything-
with AI, maybe AI can exactly tell you that
the
you
future
know
of the
you're
kid.
gonna enjoy this, you're gonna enjoy this. You are a
Like
protege
an
in
aptitude
this.
test,
You know,
like the AI
Yeah.
aptitude.
maybe.
Like he drinks with his left hand,
It's
so
crazy.
he's more this side. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't know. Like for me,
Like,
it's
that's-
almost
yeah.
good to have like a system in place where everyone can go into and find themselves first. That's kind of what school is now. Is I don't think they're teaching us the right stuff or whatever, but the system is good in a sense that you find yourself. You know,
Why
and
can't it be as good on the internet? Just
it
more
could become a lot
flexible.
better. You know.
Yeah.
But the way I see it is like you're going on your screen today. Maybe you put the VR glasses on, or maybe you like go into a machine, or maybe something, you know, maybe into a room
Maybe
or
your
whatever.
room changes like into
Yeah.
the like environment, you know.
And
or
you're
something.
still going to school, you know, and
Yeah.
you're going on break times with your friends and whatever. But it's just going to be so much easier in a sense that you don't literally have to hassle. And when it's warm outside, you don't have to like sit in the sun and things like this. You know, I think it's
It's
just
gonna
going
make
to
life
improve.
easier, but there's something to be said about like hard work and effort and like actual what the source is of like fulfillment for people, you know. So although technology might make life easier, people kind of have to still like find ways to balance it with like what makes them happy, you know. So I think there's also going to be like a huge dilemma for a few years where people are going to have to like figure out what it is that makes them them and what it is that gives them purpose in a life that is so easy. So people are going to probably like, I think happiness comes from like connection with people, and that's something that all this could like strengthen, you know, make easier for people to connect with people and where they find their purpose in life from, you know. So
Yeah.
it could be a good thing, and it could also be something that's going to be difficult to balance, but we'll have to see.
It's
We'll
going to
have
be
to see what
difficult
happens.
because the whole world is going to become the same culture.
Yeah.
It's gonna be,
It's-
yeah, we've actually talked about this the other day. Like everybody is gonna be connected in some way, so it's gonna be one big mixed culture. People sharing something about their culture.
It's already kind of like
It's
that.
already kind of, but it's gonna be much more because the whole world is gonna become one big world. Like
Yeah.
I can talk to somebody in China or whatever, and in
Your
just one
best friend
second,
is going to be an Indian,
yeah.
Yeah.
and you're both going to be the same person, you know.
So
But
the technology isn't going to be the bottleneck, the people are, you know. So it's going to be that's what's going to take the most time for it to become like that next level, you know.
yeah,
But in terms of just what blockchain gaming is, you know, and what we're going to expect from it in the next few years, you know, that could be something. And something else I wanted to ask you guys: do you think blockchain technology leveraged in a way as like the foundation for gaming economies, you know, cross-chain gaming economies and stuff like that, do you think it will simplify the way in which we transact on the internet?
I think so.
definitely.
Yeah.
100%.
Because right now you have to have so many different things. Like there's like a million different bank accounts, and you have to connect it to this thing, and then this thing, and then this
What
thing.
do you
and
mean right now with
the way in
decentralized
which
and
people
blockchain?
transact on gaming I know blockchain gaming is far away from what it like how it could simplify transactions on the internet, but like right now there's still like a few steps involved into like getting your money from this point to this point into owning like assets in games right now.
So you mean
Web2
like
gaming.
MetaMask, and then you have to
No,
bridge
I'm
it
not
in
talking
a...
about Web3 gaming. I'm talking about how it is at the moment. Like, let's say you want to play Rust, you want to buy a Rust skin, how you have to get your money from your bank card into the gaming and then buy the game and then buy the skins on the marketplace and stuff like that. There's a few steps involved, and primarily some of them are involved for like security reasons and stuff like that. Do you think in the future maybe blockchain could have like a use case where it simplifies transactions
Yeah, right now, I mean...
and maybe across platforms, you know? Like,
yeah, so this is how I see it. Like right now, if you want to get involved and you want to buy a skin in Rust, it's the easiest thing in the world. You just put your bank account details in, and boom, you buy
But
it. You know.
if you have that skin and you want to sell it, like you could sell, like let's say you buy a bicycle and you want to drive it around for a couple of days and then you want to sell it because you want to buy something else. Obviously, you're not going to get as much money back for it as you invested into it, but you can sell your bike to someone, you know?
Yeah.
And then you can use that money to buy something else. That's not possible in gaming currently. You can't just go and buy an asset in game and sell it and buy it in another game unless it's in the same economy. So you can't, for example, buy something in Rust and sell it and then go buy something in Fortnite. That's the way in which I think like blockchain technology might be a way in which it could simplify transactions, you know?
Getting
Yeah.
something from this game to the other game.
Yeah,
It's
like-
the same word.
Like getting across
Yeah.
games, you know, that's the biggest
But I
thing.
think it has already happened.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like the thing is, right now it's still kind of difficult if you want to
But
get.
there's a lot of steps involved in transaction with like
but
blockchain
it is a
technology.
work in progress. So it's
Yeah,
it's definitely gonna simplify things.
Yeah,
over
thinking
the
back
years.
when I got my first Bitcoin, you know, like that time you couldn't even the USDT didn't even exist, you
Yeah.
know, so it was a lot more complicated. Like, how do I get my money and how much Bitcoin am I gonna get for it? Now you just buy the equivalent to dollar, and it actually stays pegged to the dollar, and then you can buy Bitcoin, and it's a lot easier. And the way that you buy Bitcoin is a lot easier now already, you know, it's almost too easy.
Yeah,
And
that's gonna get
blockchain
even
gaming.
easier.
Yeah, like Web3 gaming is still very complicated. MetaMask, and you have to
Oh yeah,
sometimes bridge
it took a time for me to
decentralized
set
finance.
all of it up.
And the thing is, it might be difficult because it's new. Like once you're fluent in it, you just do it like boom, 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 boom.
But I think it's already
But-
like improving. You know, it's still
yeah,
difficult, but it's already
it's gonna be
improving.
so easy.
Like
It's gonna
Gala
be very,
using the
very
new what do you call it, the Giri blockchain, just to make it easier. But I think it's just gonna be a work in progress. It's gonna be easier over time. Like Phyllis said, if there's a need for something, there's gonna be, or yeah, if there's a demand, there's gonna be a supply. You know, if you know what
Yeah.
I mean. They are gonna make it easier in
Simplify.
the future. Yeah.
One thing that kind of like the big thing. So the big thing about like what makes blockchain gaming so special is the actual like economy. So the currencies and the assets, you truly own them. So
Yeah.
that's the big thing for me. If you buy if let's say V-Bucks, because that's like something relatable, people know what that is, you know, or some kind of in-game currency. Let's say that is a blockchain currency. That's what I'm talking about. And the skin is the NFT, the asset. Like if you buy them on Web3 gaming, you actually own them. Whereas that's not the case when you buy them on Web2 games.
Yeah.
You don't actually own something you can't sell.
You can't get it back. Like
Yeah.
if you buy 1,000 V-Bucks, you can't get the money back for that.
Exactly.
V-Bucks.
Yeah.
It is, you only have 1,000 V-Bucks and you can
Yeah.
only spend that in Fortnite.
So buying a currency on Web3 gaming would be like similar to like buying pound with dollar or buying dollar with
Yeah,
pound.
you can exchange it back.
Because like
you know,
now you
easily.
have pound instead of dollar, but you actually own your pound, you know?
Yeah.
Or you have dollar instead of pound and you actually own your dollar, you know? So that's what Web3 gaming is going to make possible for games.
It's an asset.
It's going to be an asset. You're going to truly own it, you know?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
even that asset can appreciate and in value and depreciate in value, you know, and that's what makes it a little bit more complicated. But I think not in the near future, but in the future to come, even this is going to be accessible to children. Like children are going to grow up this way, and they're going to grow up knowing that, you know, if I buy this, it could devalue, it could appreciate in value,
Yeah.
and things like this, you know. And I think that's a good thing for children to be so engaged in learning finance and learning consequences of certain behaviors and all of these things. I think it's a very good
Or
thing.
even just young
Definitely.
adults, you know? Some children aren't, I don't think, we've talked about this before, but it's a complicated topic.
Yeah, very. You know, imagine you have a child and he's just making a shit ton of money somehow on the internet, you know, and he's making more
But
than
you're
you,
still
and he's
making
like
like
10,
what, like 35K a year. You're like,
and he's
how's
like
my-
10 years old, you know.
how's my kid making more money than me on the internet?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think that will be a problem though,
Yeah.
but
I think there's honestly, if you as a kid, because I mean we live in an open market society, so everyone kind of has the opportunity to make a lot of money. So if you're making a lot of money, obviously you're doing something right, even if it is just temporarily like kudos to you, you know.
Yeah.
So that honestly, like, if a kid is making a lot of money, then congratulations, you know. I wish I did it when I was that age.
Yeah, but probably he's making a decent amount also because he's doing it a smart way. Like I've
But
realized
then he
that
has a really valuable skill.
yeah, like I've realized that if you are smart, you will always crunch someone that's lucky. You know,
Yeah.
because luck only lasts for a little while. You can get lucky and get like a lot of skins per se, and you can make a lot of money, but you're not going to be smart enough to keep that money that you made. It's harder to keep it than to make it, you know.
It's like
And,
us doing Rust. Like if we just randomly find a box with guns across the map, we take the guns back to our base, and then over a day that guns is just gone.
Yeah, but that's a skill issue. I wouldn't say that's maybe not a smart
It's a good
issue.
analogy. It's a good analogy.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think it's gonna be awesome, man.
Yeah.
I think children are gonna have such good opportunities. I think life is gonna be more and more based on the internet. People are gonna have their jobs on the internet. They're gonna live on the internet, and it's gonna be very entrepreneurial. I think the concept of working for a boss might start going out of fashion. You're gonna almost more work for
Yourself.
For an economy.
Yeah.
You're gonna work for a system, you know. And I don't know if that's a good thing. It sounds scary, you know.
Everything is scary until it's a reality.
Yeah.
I mean, like, probably cars were scary for some people.
Yeah.
And,
Like,
I mean,
for
that's
example-
the thing. I tell myself that the entire time. Like,
Yeah.
smartphones were scary. Web 2 was scary. Web 1 was scary. Like, the internet was scary. Everything is scary until it's a reality, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot of things that people are going to have to iron out and kind of sort out in the process of, like, development. But as soon as they get, like, at a good equilibrium, they're, like, balanced out, then it's not as scary anymore.
I never think it's gonna be at a equilibrium though. There's always gonna be issues.
Yeah, but
and,
I mean, as close to it as possible. You know, it's
Yeah.
going to get to a manageable point at some point in the future, and
Yeah.
I think it's going to happen very fast, like a lot faster than people expect it to. And
Yeah.
I think this whole explosion from Web 2 to Web 3 is going to happen very fast.
I think there's gonna be a system, you know, and if you contribute and you add value to the system, you're gonna get it back.
Yeah.
You know. And so that's how you're not gonna work for a boss per se, but you're gonna have to do your part. Otherwise you're not gonna get your part, you know what I mean. I think a life like that could be genuinely a good thing. I still would love to appreciate nature and to appreciate human connection as well.
I think that's where that point is, when technology has simplified life to a point where you basically don't have to do many of the hard things anymore, then it's going to be that point where you are searching for what fulfills you and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
So I want to
But
read
I
you
don't
guys.
think it's gonna not be hard, Marks. Though.
Yeah.
I think
like,
life is always gonna be
gonna be
tough.
hard,
There's
but like I
always
mean,
gonna
like
be-
the point of technology is to make things easier, you know.
Yeah, to make things usually technology makes things physically easier,
But like technically more difficult.
complicated, and more.
But I feel like if we
Yeah.
if we reach a point where like you have more time, because a lot of the things that AI, for example, could like help people with in their jobs, like save time. Maybe we get to a point where we can have like a functioning like worldwide economy that is stable and good for a lot of people. Like we reach a point where technology has made things very easy for us, and we have more time to spend with our family, loved ones, nature, and stuff like that. That's something to think about.
Yeah, but that's also up to the individual, you know, like how
Yeah.
you spend your time is a lot up to the individual. And I think
Yeah, I mean, like
therapists
some people
are going to
are
have
going
a
to spend
massive role in
24
this.
hours in the metaverse, you know, and that's up to them.
But
Yeah.
you don't need a therapist if you have AI.
Nah,
Yeah, I don't know. You want that human connection, I think. I'm going to
know.
read you guys a statement, and I want your thoughts. Just kind of like sum up the differences between Web 2 and Web 3 gaming, and we can break it down a little bit. Web 2 game features. So the Web 2 gaming industry features a significant centralization element. Web 3 gaming, on the other hand, uses distributed system where games are stored on a blockchain and are hence impenetrable. Web 3 games rely on voting consensus to change the gaming process and have no single point of failure. So what we were talking about, this is kind of like idealistic. I mean, it's not there yet. But what we're kind of like talking about is like, instead of Web 2 gaming being so centralized, the basic difference is like Web 3 gaming is going to have like a decentralized aspect to it, and like there's going to be voting consensus on like most of the major changes in the game, you know.
Yeah.
And It is also equally available to all players on the network. In this manner, Web3 gaming guarantees a high degree of transparency. So that kind of just like sums up the differences between Web 2 and Web 3. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think it's true, like that's almost a lot about what we already said.
About what the conversation has been about.
Just in more simple words.
The transparency thing is also true. Like, I think if companies and if there can be more transparency and more information available to the consumer and the people involved with the system, it's a better thing, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
So, but this is going to take some time. Some companies are going to have to develop some things. I don't really know how to navigate everything more. It's like there's going to be, because there's so many different people with so many different opinions on life and whatever, like having one system where everyone comes in and does their part, like I said before, like not everyone wants that,
difficult, but at least like we live in a world with like 7 billion people, and like at least everyone kind of like contributes a little bit until something happens with it,
Yeah.
So that's how we can't really predict how it's going to be, because everyone's going to have like an input in some kind of way. Everyone has the opportunity and the abilities to like change things in a major way,
Yeah.
So yeah, there are many more topics around Web3 gaming and this whole industry that we could cover, but for the sake of time, we're gonna kind of like almost end it here. Like a few things I still want to like touch on and say, but I think that kind of like sums up the whole conversation between Web2 and Web3 gaming. And this is the Get Decentralized Podcast, so obviously we're gonna have a lot of Web3 conversations in the future. I want to like give you guys an interesting bit. 3 out of 4 investors joined the crypto community thanks to GameFi platforms, which is kind of like kind of like an interesting fact. 3 out of 4 investors joined the crypto.
Do you mean 3 out of 4 crypto investors currently, or investors worldwide? Probably in crypto currently.
No, not investors worldwide, like crypto investors.
Crypto investors join GameFi.
3 out of 4 people that invest into crypto joined because of GameFi. So obviously the one of the largest adoption or use case applications for like crypto, we can kind of like safely say is GameFi. GameFi has been the thing that people are more focused on right now.
Yeah, I mean,
interesting
I think gaming is going to be a massive part of Web3, and not only gaming specifically, but a lot of what gaming is, like doing tasks on the internet. It's gonna be a really big thing. And gaming, Web3 gaming right now is kind of a DeFi product as well.
Yeah. So it's all like kind of interconnected in some way, but like gaming is a huge part of it. That's just something interesting. I don't know like how true it is, but if that like it's kind of like just an interesting thing.
Yeah, but I can believe it.
I can also believe it. Like
when I started with crypto, the GameFi wasn't really something. Like I didn't even know about it.
It's large,
And when I first heard about it, I remember thinking like, but like crypto this is something.
Yeah, crypto has been something that's like, oh, Bitcoin, but what's Bitcoin? All these shit coins and altcoins and Ethereum, and like what's it for? Like what's it for? Like, and people don't really understand like the whole store of value thing and whatever. But like, it's only been recently that like people have started searching for use cases for crypto, and GameFi is a big use case for crypto. So
yeah.
So that's one thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always been use cases if you think about it.
But like simple use cases that most people understand.
Yeah. Like I remember Cardano used to never have a use case, It's stuff like this. Yeah. Basically, the only use case for Cardano was hype, But now it's starting to really develop, and it's starting to really have some really good use cases. Like, I mean, Twitter starting to integrate Dogecoin. This is use case for Dogecoin.
Yeah, but Dogecoin didn't have a use case.
Yeah, it was just a hype train.
Just like a meme coin, and people started hyping it up. And like, oh, Dogecoin to the moon, Dogecoin to the moon. Yeah. But like, what's Dogecoin for?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I saw like a little clip of Warren Buffett actually talking about like, if someone had like sold me all the crypto in the world, I wouldn't take it, because like then I have to find the sucker to sell it for, because it doesn't have any value. Like.
But it's starting to get value.
It's starting to get value, but like up until this point, like Warren Buffett had a point with the whole crypto thing.
Definitely, like for Bitcoin itself, it's always been a really good store of value. Although it is very, I would like to see Bitcoin in the future become more stable and have a long term.
Freaking all over the place at the moment.
Yeah. Like if you think about it, Bitcoin is actually very trending upwards, like in the long run, and people have too short spans. Like they see only Bitcoin in a few days.
People look at Bitcoin, but everyone that looks at Bitcoin right now kind of looks like at it from like trader perspective. If I buy it, can I sell it?
Tomorrow,
Yeah, and everyone's looking at it from a trader point of view, because like I think very few people are looking at it like from a long-term perspective. Like
no, there definitely are. Like I had this one guy asking me, what do I think Bitcoin will be worth in 10 years? And I told him like, yo man, I ain't spending any predictions. I think it's gonna be big. I think it's gonna be I think throwing around $1 million type of values is kind of ridiculous, but and he's and I went to the charts, and I was looking at Bitcoin from a 1 day perspective. That's the time frame of the chart I was looking at, and he's like, no, go to the 15 minute. I'm like, dude, but you asked me in 10 years. Like, why do I want to bother myself with the 15 minutes? What's gonna happen in the next 15 minutes? What is that gonna happen with what's in 10 years? Like people have way too short spans, and Bitcoin goes to 60k, 30k, and now Bitcoin is a shitcoin because it went from 60k to 30k. But they forgot that it went from 3k to 60k in the first place, So from a few years ago, which is not long, it's 2017, 2018,
if you buy
2019.
in 2017, it's probably
if you buy it in 2019, 2018, it's like 3k, hovering around 3 to 8k, and it's 30k now. If you went to sleep for a few years and you're like, whoa, Bitcoin is 30k, what the hell,
Yeah.
And it's after it dropped like
the last thing it's $100 and now it's 30k. It's still like massive,
It's still massive. Yeah. So it's still a massive increase. It's one of the best performing assets in the last 10 years, 15 years. Probably the best performing asset, to be honest. So very interesting.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Some food for thought is like the fact that Web3 gaming can give players more control, like influence the user experience, like make it a more positive experience where people have more voting rights and more inputs,
Yeah, it's
like
a positive thing for developers and the gamers.
Yeah, so some interesting things we talked about, and like how like people can think about Web3
Definitely
gaming.
gonna touch more on this in the future.
Yeah, this can be expanded like a lot. But yeah, anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining the podcast episode today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Expect one every single week, every single Saturday. We're going to try and upload it the same day. If we can't, it will be up the next day, definitely.
Somewhere in the weekend.
Yeah, and hopefully you guys got decentralized today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the flavor. And also make sure to follow us on all our social medias. All the links will be down in the descriptions if you guys want to see us in the week. We play games live. We stream them. We do Web3 gaming on Twitch. And also join the Discord if you guys want to discuss this, some of the topics with us and give some of your inputs. Thank you so much for
recommendations,
watching.
Game recommendations, anything is valued.
Join the community, join the decentralized army.
Join the conversation.
The conversation. So anyways, guys, thank you so much and see you next time. Peace.
Cheers.
Peace.